Hey traders, how's everybody doing? It's Tuesday, August 19th, and I'm traveling right now, so I don't have my normal setup to do videos, but hopefully this looks pretty good. And I actually haven't really been trading at all yesterday and today since I've been traveling, and the way that the market has looked with, the summit going on in Europe and everybody's waiting for the Fed meeting on Friday, and it's just been a very kind of rocky, up and down uncertainty in the air. So usually in times like these, I either size down greatly or I just stay out of things, and that's how I've been doing it this week. So really no trades for me this week. So it's going to be a bit of a different reason that I'm making a video. Usually I talk about trades that I've actually made, but today I just wanted to do this video because I received an email that I thought was pretty interesting. And I receive a decent amount of emails, and most of them are just kind of asking me questions about trades and what I think about this or that. But this one was interesting because it's a guy who was a newer trader. And obviously I'm not going to, read the whole thing or mention his name or anything, but I'm just going to read you one part of this email that's interesting. It says, "The issue I certainly had when I was trying to understand trading at the start of my journey was that the industry is unfortunately littered with a lot of the flash cars and look at how much I've earned sort of stuff. It's hard to validate any of those on the internet, and so little is spoken about the struggles of the work that's required to get to a consistent level." So that part of the email really struck me because I know exactly what he's talking about, because I also watch other videos on YouTube about people trading, and I don't consider myself a YouTuber or any sort of a financial influencer. I'm not that, and I wouldn't want to be that, because that shit just looks exhausting to me. Like, if you're trying to make your living by getting clicks and likes and the most views on your videos, that just looks absolutely exhausting. I make my money actually trading, and I do this because A, I actually like it, and B, I want to actually help people who are looking for good information. And unfortunately, there's a lot of really bad information out there, or some of it's bad information in my opinion, and some of it is just flat out bullshit. Like, you'll get some people that'll just say, my system is foolproof, it's guaranteed. All you have to do is do what I do and you're guaranteed to make money. First of all, anybody that tells you that you're guaranteed to make money by doing what they do is flat out lying to you. Now, the most that I will ever say is, this is what has worked for me. And I don't ever guarantee that it will work for you, because each person is different, and what works for one person might not always work for somebody else. All I'm saying is that this is what works for me. And so it kind of goes without saying that if it's worked for me and you do the same things that I do, it should theoretically work for you too. But of course, there's never any guarantees that anything works. So that's number one. Number two, anybody that says they never ever have a losing day ever is also just flat out lying to you. Everybody has losing days. And I'm getting to something with all of this, so don't just think that I'm rambling, because there's a point to all of this that I'm setting up that I'll get to in a minute. But everybody has losing days. The best traders in the world have losing days. Just like people who are completely relying on luck and know nothing about what they're doing will sometimes have winning days because they're lucky. So all of that exists. But so what I'm getting at here is that you need to figure out for yourself through the process of trial and error, using different sort of strategies and different approaches, what will actually work for you and what will resonate with you. Before I got into the strategy that I ultimately created for myself, I did a lot of different things, and sometimes those things were successful and sometimes they weren't. But ultimately I realized that before I had my own system, I was really just kind of relying on, it was more luck than anything else. I mean, there was a little bit of strategy and a little bit of knowledge that grew and grew over time, but it was a lot of it was luck. And then as I grew more experienced and just did it over and over and over, it's just the repetitions. Doing something over and over and over again, it's like practicing. If you're a boxer, you might not know how to jab at first, but then you start, you practice your jab, hundreds of jabs, thousands of jabs, weeks and months and years of jabbing, and then before you know it, your jab is really, really sharp. And so trading is very similar to that. There will be plenty of things that you simply do not know until you see something over and over and over again, and then you go, oh yeah, I've seen this a million times. I know what's going to happen next. And of course, the thing doesn't always happen next, but when you've practiced a thing over and over again, it will become like second nature to you. And so just after doing the things that I'm doing now, after I had started to do those things over and over again for months and then years, I finally got to the place where I can be very confident that I'm going to win more than I'm going to lose, and that my wins will be bigger than my losses. And so that brings me to point number one of the two main points that I want to make with this video. The first problem that people have, and the thing that I don't want anybody to do, is don't try to get rich. Don't think about getting rich day trading. And that's kind of what this guy alluded to a little bit in his message. He was talking about all these videos I see are just these guys with the fancy cars and the expensive watches and whatever. Like, you can rent a car. You can buy a knockoff watch that looks exactly like the real thing, and nobody will be able to tell that it's a cheap imitation in a YouTube video. There are so many ways to fake so much stuff. And just like if you see videos where a person's just got like one thing that looks like a profit and loss statement, it's got a big fat number on there and it says, look at my P&L last year. You know how easy it is to Photoshop pretty much anything? That's why whenever I'm making videos about my trades on that day, I'll usually put the actual ins and outs, a screenshot of the green and red lines that you get on Thinkorswim that show you exactly what you traded, how many contracts you got, and the hour, minute, and second that you got into and out of those positions. And if anybody wanted to go back and take a look at any of my old videos and like cross-reference on their own chart, oh, he said that he traded SPY on this day and he got in on, on this minute and then got out on this minute, and then here's where the price was from here to here. Anybody can go back and cross-reference and see that that is in fact real, and the price action was exactly where it should have been based on what my screenshot is that I've shared. So, there's plenty of ways to game the system, but when you actually put your ins and outs to the minute and to the second on every single trade that you make, that's reality. And so that's always been very important to me, is to just keep things real and to not ever overpromise anything and say, you're guaranteed to get rich if you do what I do, or say, oh, I've got $1 million. I don't have $1 million, and I don't really care that I don't have $1 million. Because I'm not trying to get rich. I'm merely trying to make a living doing this, and make a good living doing this. And that's what I actually do. So point number one is, don't try to get rich trading. If you try to get rich, you're always going to be aiming for the home run every single time. You're going to say, oh, I want to take this $100 contract that I bought, and I'm not going to close it out until my $100 contract is worth $1,000. And that's never going to happen. That's essentially like trying to win the lottery. But can you get that $100 contract to $150? Absolutely. Can you even get it to $200? Absolutely. And so by simply focusing on trading to trade well rather than trading to get rich, ironically, that's actually the thing that will, in the long run, get you a lot more money. Because over time, the gains will add up over time. If you're sitting there thinking, oh man, $100 a day, that's nothing. That's like chump change. That's weak. I see this dude with the Lamborghini on the video, and he made $10,000 in one trade. Okay, maybe he really did make $10,000 in one trade, or maybe he's lying to you. But even if he did actually make $10,000 in one trade, what are the chances that that is a consistent, easy to replicate process that you can do practically every single day? I venture to guess it's pretty rare that anybody who's not playing with a $100,000 account and putting up most of it is going to consistently be pulling in $10,000, $20,000 every day. I've had a $10,000 day before. I think my biggest day that I ever had was $18,000 in one day. I certainly don't expect to make $18,000 every day with the amount of size that I'm playing with. That was a rarity, and I'm completely upfront about the fact that that was a rarity. Not that I was lucky, because both of my biggest trades that I've ever done have been because I deliberately traded what I wanted to trade, but at the same time, it's not something that I'm ever going to say is just easy to do. Super easy to make $10,000 a day. It's not super easy to make $10,000 a day. But even if you're playing with a smaller contract, it is fairly easy to make $100 a day, or $200 a day, or $300 a day. And if you make $100 to $300 per day, every day for a week, suddenly you've got between $500 and $1,500 that you didn't have at the end of that week. And that's something that's fairly easy to replicate week after week. And so that will happen when you are trying to trade well and trade consistently, rather than simply trying to get rich with every one of your trades. And so that's number one. Okay, and point number two, there are only two things that you need to absolutely do every day to literally have continuing success in day trading. Only two things. If you can do these two things, you will have consistent success. And those two things are, number one, make sure that you are winning more than you are losing. Number two, make sure that your wins are bigger than your losses. That's it. If you can do those two things, you will have consistent day trading success. Now, notice I didn't say that you will get rich doing this, because that's not the point. Again, the point is to have consistent success and to be able to do this day after day after day. So, having more winning days than you have losing days. What does that look like? Well, obviously, in a perfect world, you would be green 5 days out of 5 each and every week. But that's not always doable. Let's say you have even 3 of 5 days green every week. You've got 3 green days, you've got 2 red days. As long as you have made more money in your green days than you have lost in your red days, you are going to come out on top. So let's say you have 3 green days and you make $200 each day. There's $600. Let's say you have 2 red days that week and you lost $100 on each of those days. So there's 600 minus 200, you've made $400 in the week. That's a green week. Now, it's not going to set the world on fire. You're not going to be immediately calling up your mom and going, "Hey mom, guess what?" But still, you're having a green week, and you can continue to do that week after week after week. And the magic of this is in the continued success and growing the account, and not suddenly going in with too much size just because you've had a couple of green weeks and you think, okay, I cracked the code, now I can go really huge. Like, that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to be putting up like $500 a day or $1,000 a day into your trades, and then a couple weeks later when you've got $3,000 total in your account, you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to put all $3,000 up now and put all $3,000 on one ticker in one trade. That's a recipe for disaster. You do not want to do that. But if you just trade conservatively and consistently and do the same things every day with the same strategy, and you find yourself having success, just keep doing it, because over time your money will compound, and it's like a snowball, you know, a snowball that runs downhill and picks up more snow along the way. And before you know it, you know, your account is doubled, and then a couple months after that, you just keep doing what you're doing, and then the account is doubled again. And if you make sure that you have a lot of extra capital in the account before you size up the first time, then even if you do have some big losses when you first size up, it's not the end of the world, because you've still got that big fat nest egg that you've built up. Remember, in the beginning, when you're first starting off, the most important thing is simply conserving your capital. Like when I first started out, I mean, my very first goal was to make like $50 a day. And then after I was making $50 a day, I started thinking, let me make $100 a day. And then I started making $100 a day consistently. And then what if I thought about making $200 a day, and then $500 a day? And right now, my general goal is around $1,000 a day. Obviously, sometimes I don't make that. Sometimes I have losing days. Sometimes I make a lot more than $1,000 a day. But if I can get in that ballpark of making about $1,000 a day, I'm very happy with it. And, you know, there's approximately 250 trading days every year. So if you can make around $1,000 a day every day, you're talking about a $250,000 per year income. And that's not so far-fetched to do, even when you're not playing with huge size every single day. You're not going to get there immediately, but you can definitely get there over time if you just stay consistent and you're able to manage your risk and you're able to have some discipline in your trades, and you're able to just keep it all together and not go crazy and do anything stupid. You can absolutely get there. So those were the 2 main things that I wanted to point out in this video. Number 1, Don't trade to get rich, trade to trade well. And number 2, the only 2 things that you need for consistent success are to make sure that you have more green days than red days, and make sure that your profits on your green days are bigger than your losses on your red days. That's literally the secret to consistent success. And if you can do those things, you have a high degree of probability that you can be successful in day trading stock options. So, as always, if you'd like to get my course, it's available on lonewolftradingclub.com, or you can get either one of the 2 books that I've written that are available on Amazon. And there's also an audio book on Amazon of both of my books. So hopefully you're going to be a little bit chill this week. I would say, based on what's happened yesterday and today in the markets, don't do anything big. Just kind of wait it out until we see the market really pick a strong direction. I mean, yesterday and today the direction has been down, but I'm still sort of staying out. Rather than jumping in with a huge short position, I'm kind of waiting to see until midweek or end week, maybe after the next Fed meeting happens, before I do anything of any type of real size. But until next time, take care, everybody. Have some good trades, and I'll see you when I see you again. Bye-bye.